Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we have a doozy. A lot of very funny things to look at involving Hasan Piker, as well as his girlfriend Valkyrae. Not sure how you pronounce it because everyone pronounces it differently every single day, but you get the point. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure this video gets in the algorithm so nobody misses out on what we're talking about today. Now we're going to split this video in half. The second half is going to be about Valkyrae and her reaction to people criticizing her for her comments about her friend's skin color and how it's basically a negative thing that she's so white. And she recently streamed and talked about that and much more. And she's having a hard time learning that people simply don't really like her very much. Now, the first half of this video is going to be about Hasan Piker. Now, I didn't really have much to talk about involving him today, but something dropped just before recording, and it's... We live in a great timeline, ladies and gentlemen. This involves the current Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. Now, if you're not familiar with him in his role within our government, you might be familiar with the memes, the endless memes that have been made about him. And which one do you feel like today? Please comment below. But what happened here is insane. JD Vance has dropped an official comment about Collargate, talking about Hassan, his treatment of his dogs, and his likely treatment of human beings as a result.
He has this command place, which is basically if I snap my finger and point, he will run to that place and lay down.
You don't have to zap him.
No.
Hassan.
Not like Hasan Piker. No.
Wasn't that disgusting?
No electrocution of dogs here.
How disgusting is that? What does that tell you about a person?
Well, I think it tells you that they're not, that they're bad people.
Yes.
If you can actually cause suffering to an innocent animal, you're probably the kind of person who doesn't worry about suffering in people as well. Yeah. And that's been my experience. If you mistreat dogs, that's almost 100% sign that you're going to be a really terrible person. So it's one of the ways, we really sort of test people is if Atlas responds well to them, if they like Atlas, we know they're good people. But you can tell if somebody's really mean to animals, it's like the Jeffrey Dahmer thing. Yeah. Like every serial killer ever has actually been really bad to animals. That's sort of how they started.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the 48th President of the United States. This is unbelievable, okay? We are hearing the Vice President of the United States directly mention Hasan Piker and absolutely roast him. In fact, he basically compares him to a serial killer. That's how crazy this is. Our vice president here in America is with it. He's with the Twitch scene and knows what's going on. We have reached a national stage. This has gone nuclear. This has gone mainstream, ladies and gentlemen. The vice president on national television is talking about Collargate. It's absolutely insane. What he's saying is totally correct. If someone mistreats dogs, of all things, man, wait till you see how they treat human beings. But the comments on this are funny. Nuck saying that's my 48th president. Wow, I'm shocked. Let's go. JD Vance gets it. When you're such a prolific animal abuser that the Vice President of the United States of America steps in to publicly destroy you. Hassan off camera using an ounce of Zeus power to punish his dog for moving at its presence. It do be like that, Mr. Piker. That's a great meme, but you get the point. And Tectone would make a pretty good observation here in the quotes, saying, Hassan, all you had to do was tell the truth a single time in your life, but you refuse. Now all of your friends and girlfriend are going to have to keep covering for you. And that's exactly right. If the initial situation that happened nearly a month ago where his dog was shocked live on Twitch, if he just at that moment walked over, took off the collar, showed it, and showed what he claims is not a shock collar, this whole thing would have been over. In fact, even if it was a shock collar, I think if he was just transparent about it on day one, that thing would have blown over. This whole situation would have blown over in like 2 days. And now we're at a point where the vice president is talking about this all these weeks later, and his friends and his girlfriend, they're going to have to run more PR for this guy because it's now in the national zeitgeist, okay, ladies and gentlemen? But there's another post I want to talk about that involves Hassan. And someone made this collage of content creators where basically they say this. They were gamers, anime and manga fans, and pop culture commentators who never touched politics, but as the world drifted from truth and woke politics invaded our hobbies, many content creators turned political to defend their passions. Leftists thriving off of lies and disinformation hate it when apolitical people join the fray, facing death threats, false allegations, and insane propaganda from the mentally unwell and are labeled grifters. Yeah, this one got a lot of support and also made a lot of people very angry. Now, looking at this collage of content creators here, I can say every single person here has contributed something that I have personally enjoyed in one form or another. And also, I have interacted with most of these people, whether publicly or privately, and I can say they're pretty good people. Okay, we have Asmongold, Tectone, Ethan Klein, Nux, Chibi Reviews, Mark Kern, Kirsha, Smug Alana, myself, and then finally, Smash JT. Now, Hassan would discover this tweet, and let's just say he's not very impressed. In fact, he had a full-fledged meltdown over it.
More people are getting red pilled daily, unable to tolerate the nonsense promoted by mainstream news. So when I first saw this, I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought this person was like making a joke collage to make fun of these losers, right? Nope. Turns out this is something that this person genuinely believes. And it turns out that, like, this is how the fandom of these content creators also see themselves as. Every single person on this list, if you were to try to explain their positions to a random person in the real world, or what they do, or the space that they occupy online, most people in the real world would look at you like, what do you mean a cartoon pedophile Nazi that defends Israel unconditionally is constantly talking about, you know, video games not serving his sexual desires and how this is a grand scheme by woke. What? Get a life, man. I want this on the record. I'm a sexless 39-year-old Warhammer nerd who's not angry at women or really at anything. Every time I see one of these hateful, I'm so grateful that I'm not built like that. My advice to young men, just be normal and relax. Yes.
This is basically Hassan in a nutshell, right? He sees this, and all he can do is name call and slander. He has no rebuttal for anything. He's not engaging with the prompt. He's not engaging with what this person is saying. He simply is seeing red. He's seeing people he doesn't like. He's seeing his critics, and he just loses it. He doesn't have an actual argument to counter anything that is being discussed. So instead, he just name calls and slanders, including talking about a predator, a VTuber, and I'm like, oh, geez, here he goes slandering me again. But then he added the part about Israel, and then it's like, oh, he's slandering Nux this time. Okay, glad we figured that out. Yeah, nobody makes Hassan seethe more than people like Nux. I mean, Nux has made a lot of videos. If you think I've made a lot of videos on Hassan, people like Nux, or we don't even have Pegasus on here, but like those guys have made an entire library of Hassan videos. It's impressive, but I can see why Hassan would be extra angry with people like that. But he's talking about this whole thing about if any of us were walking down the street and trying to explain what we do, people would be absolutely repulsed, which I talk about this stuff in real life all the time. It's really not that hard to explain what I do or what any of these people do. But the funny thing is, he thinks that the average person would be just horrified by our opinions and the things that we talk about. But only one of us is getting continuously, publicly disavowed by political figures, people he looks up to, like Zoran Mamdani, who's running for the mayor of New York City. This is someone that Hassan has made very clear he looks up to. He thinks he's like one of his heroes. And at a time, they were collabing and meeting up until a few weeks ago, where on national television, Zoran literally publicly disavowed him because his opinions were that outrageous. Yeah, it's only happening to one person in this scenario. It's not the quote-unquote grifters that he's so angry about in that collage. Very interesting stuff. But let's move back to Valkyrae. I don't know. Every day I hear someone pronounce it differently. Maybe it's both. I don't really care. But All you need to know is this is Hasan Piker's girlfriend. She was the secret girlfriend for a while. He wanted to keep her on the down low, and it got revealed recently, so that adds a whole nother layer. And she's been in a lot of controversy, not only for her comments about Collargate and trying to defend Hassan, literally saying this is all happening, and what about Palestinians, is what she said. You know, why are we caring about a dog when we have these things happening, these horrible things happening to people around the world? But of course, she got in more trouble because her friend, Cutie Cinderella, and this Vanilla Mace individual, they're talking about some BS allegations that the FaZe boys are facing for being transphobic, homophobic, every single phobic and ist you can think of, with basically nothing even close to the proof of these claims. But that discussion evolved into, well, how do you associate with people you think are problematic? And she says, well, Cutie Cinderella says, my dad, he's transphobic at times, but I still love him. And that got her canceled on social media. In fact, Valkyrae is the one who came out and said, yeah, she's too white to be talking like that.
I did tell her, I was like, Cutie, I do think your tone doesn't help because you inherently sound really angry all the time. You sound really, and she knows. I was like, you're very blunt. I think it's your tone, you're blunt, and it just comes off poorly, especially, you know, and I was like, you're also the whitest woman I know. And it also is just, you know, you being so white. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But I know her. I know her heart. It's just because she wants to help. But I feel like there's ways we can do it better.
Truly amazing stuff. Just going full mask off, showing that she is a racist, that she thinks we should treat people differently because of the color of their skin. In fact, being too white is something with a negative connotation that makes you subject to criticism, I guess. Yeah, this was a big mess, and people were really not happy about it. And in her stream yesterday, if you're confused, she dyed her hair. She would talk about a lot of this stuff, and it's very clear that her jimmies have been rustled. In fact, one thing that seems to be really upsetting her, pretty much above all else, is the fact that people are comparing her to her own boyfriend, calling her the female Hasan Piker.
I heard you're the female Hassan. Damn. Is that what you heard? And I cannot change the way you perceive me. And I accept that. Although it hurts me. It hurts me. Okay. Wow, that is wild. Damn. First of all, I play video games.
Now I gotta tell you, there's something very strange about that. Like, no, seriously, think about it. Not only is the comparison, I think, very fair, because of the things she's saying, the way she's acting, it really does line up. They do seem like they have some things in common, but going beyond that, do you see the disgust in her reaction when someone called her the female Hasan Piker? That's gotta sting. Like, imagine you're dating someone and people are saying you're just alike, and your reaction is like, ew. Rough times for this guy. Like, it's a very odd comment. Like, I can't be the only one who thinks it's odd that someone is compared to their own partner and they get a feeling of disgust. I don't know, man. It just sounds very odd to me. But of course, this is a part of a real tough time for Valkyrae over here. She's kind of realizing that outside of her little bubble in the LA streaming scene, a lot of people don't really like her. At least people are noticing her a lot more recently because of her recent comments, and they're very critical of her, and she just can't understand how people don't like her. And on top of that, when she's explaining this, she pretty much malfunctions like an NPC and just starts spouting a bunch of virtue signaling.
At the end of the day, I think some people just want me to get off the internet. I also think some people want me to just die. You know, I think some people want a villain. I think I am in that position, you know, because obviously the more you talk about things that you align with or agree with, the more people from the opposite side are going to not like that. Okay. No matter what, I'm trans rights, gay rights. Okay. I'm going to donate to a lot of charities. I have also, I think that's another thing, like, people don't know, like, what I have donated to in the past, like, what I have fundraised for.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is literally what an NPC looks like. The second she is confronted with criticism, it's like her mind just goes haywire. She doesn't understand how to deal with it, so she literally just sits there and starts flopping around and going, trans rights, gay rights, and I donate a lot of money to charity. You can't criticize me, which is very, very funny. It's just peak virtue signaling. This is something they've used for years and years. When they get into trouble, people like her, they just start virtue signaling. They think that's going to clear everything up. And you know what? It has for some time. But this isn't 2020. We're not doing this. People see past all of this very just disingenuous stuff, these disingenuous statements used to deflect criticism. And on top of that, she acts like giving to charity is like some like proof that you're a good person. Look, there's a lot of people in the world who give to charities for reasons that, well, maybe are self-serving, like they want write-offs. Or they're just doing it for appearances, so they look good to others. Simply donating to charity, especially as a millionaire, doesn't automatically make you a good person. The fact that you're trying to use charity as a shield for your public image is already saying a lot. It's a very weird thing to say in that scenario, a very weird deflection. But anyways, all of this virtue signaling is just, it's so obvious. Take a step back. This whole thing with Cutie Cinderella, the whole conversation and the main crux of the drama, not just her comments about her dad, but before that, it was about the Phase Boys and stuff they were facing, right? And everyone was so mad at Cutie Cinderella for hanging around them, and that's what led into the deeper conversation where she's talked about her dad. And in her last stream, she was doing the best content organization here in this poll, in this nomination here, and she gave it to FaZe. So all the people who were like canceling those for hanging out with FaZe and all that stuff, she gets a pass, I guess. Like, where is the consistency? It's just simply not there with all of these people. Now, there was another thing we talked about yesterday, where in response to the backlash for her comments about Cutie Cinderella being too white, she made a now deleted tweet where she basically said, I never thought I'd be accused of being racist against white people, and saying the clip was out of context, and that, you know, we got to talk about privilege, in the privilege that comes with being whites. And now she has come out in her last stream and explained why she deleted that. Because the real racists showed up to town.
I deleted my tweet because it reached real Nazis, real sexist people, real transphobic people, real hatred people. It almost gave them like something to huddle up to. And so that is why I deleted my tweet. That is the reason. It also didn't provide enough context for people that did not know the context. So I'm not using Twitter again until I do my my Santa Ray foray. No, it's okay.
Stuff like this is so telling. When people have to come out and say the real blank, that says a lot. It says a lot about the person saying it. It says a lot about the current environment we're in, where terms like the Nazi and sexism and transphobia and all these things, they've been so watered down that people, they feel like they have to say, no, these are real ones this time. So like what? Do you normally use that term when it's not involving real examples of that? Like we see this all the time when I talk about whether it's anime or art drama and stuff like that on social media, where terms like predator have been watered down so much to mean a person who likes anime girl, that when something serious does happen, where there's a actual crime going on, people have to come out and say a real predator. That's how diluted these words have become, and she's just proving it here. It's crazy. It's crazy how watered down these things have gotten, and really her whole discussion here about kind of throwing this all to the nasty bigots, and they're ruining everything, and they're running amok, and I have to protect myself and delete these tweets because I just can't deal with these wackadoos who are criticizing me. They're not criticizing me, they're just bigots. She's adapting well. She's learning quickly to the Hasan system. She has pretty much mastered it already, which, you know, apparently they've been dating for some time, so she's been working on the Hasan system, and she's really employing it quickly. The second she has faced her first major controversy since their relationship has been made public. But there is more. She's doing a little giveaway for her community, and she is making sure the rotten people will not get a seat at the table.
Yeah, and don't come in here like when I start doing the charity giveaways and donations to you guys, like I'm going to make sure not a single rotten person gets a dime. Not a single dime is going to anyone that is like racist, sexist. Oh yeah, no, I'll be checking logs. I'm also preemptively picking people and preemptively having a naughty list.
And it's just like blah, 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 blah. So here she is labeling people as rotten, which I'm sure just means anyone who disagrees with her on anything or criticizes her. And she's using that to twist the rules of her own charity giveaway to make sure these undesirable, rotten people will not reap any sort of a benefit. Interesting stuff, but that's really all we're going to say about her, except this last point. Streams charts came out with the top female streamers list of Q3 for 2025, and she got number 6. Valkyrae got number 6. Now, why are people talking about this so much? Look at this. Excluding VTubers. That's interesting and offensive and weird, because they're basically saying VTubers don't count. It's also implying they're not female in another way, right? This is a very weird thing, a very insecure move by a lot of people making these lists, a lot of people wanting to be featured on these lists, because if you do actually include VTubers for this same list, look at that. It's Pecora on top, followed by several other VTubers. In fact, VTubers make up the majority of this top 10 list. So the fact that they excluded VTubers on this list, very, very odd. And once again shows that people just don't take VTubers seriously. Which really doesn't matter, because like, what's the difference between me right now and me without a model? You know, if I turned it off right now, like, am I more legitimate of a creator? I don't know. This whole like weird hatred of VTubers, it's not going away anytime soon. People still don't take them seriously. The platforms themselves don't even take them that seriously, despite the fact they're raking in a lot of money for the platform, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, what have you. Now let's continue talking a little bit about Twitch before we close out today's video. I just wanted to share this. We've seen a lot of the lack of accountability for some female streamers who clearly are getting preferential treatment. We talked about the 2 individuals who were twerking on a guy against his will and got a sub 2-day suspension for assaulting him live on Twitch. Here's another example of just ridiculous biased treatment. Morgpie has been banned for the 12th time. 12th ban. This person's been banned 12 times and they're still on the platform. And if you don't know, this is someone who does adult content. They do what every other person like them does on Twitch. They go in, they push the rules way beyond their limits. They produce incredibly sexual content. Eventually, there's enough outrage, they get banned. They get banned for like a week. They come back and they rinse and repeat. It's all about promoting their off-platform stuff that is adult content. Twitch is just a conduit that gets them also some temporary money before they get suspended. But 12 times? We've done this 12 times. I've seen people get one and done. VTubers, they make one mistake. They have a too revealing of a outfit design and they're permabanned. This person's on their 12th ban and you know she's coming back. But of course, there's some other things going on at Twitch and Amazon generally. There was a reported round of layoffs, including as many as 14,000 jobs gone from Amazon, which of course is the company that owns Twitch. And people are reporting that a very high percent of staff might be cut. Now, people are praying the CEO Dan Clancy and their executive team are among them. I doubt it, but it seems like these most recent rounds of layoffs over at Amazon are trickling down to Twitch. And does anyone feel sorry for them at this point? It's absolutely crazy, the stuff that's been going on over at Twitch for years, and whether it's TwitchCon or all these other fiascos, there's just so much that leadership should be paying for, but they're not going to. I'm still surprised that Dan Clancy, the sacrificial lamb of the company right now, is still going strong. I can't believe they haven't just pinned him as like the fall guy for everything, even though he does have a lot of responsibility here, but hasn't happened yet. But overall, yeah, Twitch not looking great, and every day it seems like people are having enough of this platform and are looking elsewhere to produce content and to view content. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.